Hizi leaked audios zimekuwa too much. The latest leaked audio is of course that of a purported telephone conversation between Jubilee Secretary General and Cabinet Secretary without portfolio, Raphael Tuju, and George Nyanja, a very well-known Kenyan politician, who indeed had a failed attempt to become Senator of Kiambaa in the last general elections in 2017. And indeed in that audio, Nyanja says he would have gotten elected as senator without any problem had it not been for rigging. Widespread rigging in Central Province, which saw losers end up as winners in those elections. And indeed, Nyanja said that what David Murathe, the former vice chair of the Jubilee Party, said was absolutely true. That there was a lot of fiddling of elections in Central Province. Actually fiddling of the Jubilee primaries in Central Province. And of course, Murathe blamed DP William Ruto. Nyanja also blames DP William Ruto in the said purported leaked audio. But as usual, let's start from the beginning. And let's start by asking the most important question. And the question is, who leaked this audio? If indeed it is authentic, who leaked it? Because when we answer that question, then we'll have an idea as to what the objective may have been. Now, let us use a trick here that usually works. When you're sitting for an exam, you're usually advised, if you come across a difficult question, jump that question and go and answer the other ones that are easier. And then your mind will become much clearer. Apart from saving time, of course. Your mind will become much clearer. And when you revisit question number 1, it will be easier to answer. So let us ask another question. Who was this leaked audio targeted at? Because before you know the objective, you need to know who was supposed to hear this private conversation. Of course, for political reasons. Well, the content dwells a lot on a very nagging Central Province issue, or rather a Gikuyu issue. And this is the 2007 election troubles. There is reference to a very terrible event that took place in our country during the 2007 elections, 2007-2008. Those elections were held in December. And of course, after the results were announced, we were into the new year, 2008. And that is when all hell broke loose. The incident I'm referring to is, of course, the Kiambaa church incident. A horrifying incident that still brings tears to my eyes, where women and children were set on fire. They were actually trapped inside a church, and then the church was set on fire. And those who are setting the fire are said to have danced in glee and in victory as human beings, including innocent children burnt inside that church. It is said that some people, including children, tried to escape and almost escaped, but they were apprehended and thrown back into the flames. Folks, that incident still brings tears into my eyes. Okay? But let's stay on point and fight away the emotions. The advantage of a pre-recorded video is that you can take a break. And that's a break I needed. Anyway, in the leaked audio, Nyanja and Tuju make reference to this Kiambaa incident. And they suggest that if somebody wants to contribute so much to building churches, if somebody loves God so much, then the first thing they should do is to rebuild the burnt down church at Kiambaa. Indeed, Nyanja and Tuju agree that some kind of memorial should be built at the place, which in my view, if we were to put the politics aside, is a great idea. But then you and I know the politics cannot be put aside, because the reason why this thing is coming up again is because of politics. Anyway, it is crystal clear from the contents of the purported, allegedly leaked audio that indeed the target market for this audio was the voters in Central Province. Why? Because the whole idea is to remind them, especially those in Central Province who would want to support a certain politician. It is a reminder to them that it is ludicrous, based on history, to think of supporting that particular politician. That should be crystal clear. So now we can go back to the first question and we'll be able to answer it with much more confidence. Let me ask it again. Who was most probably responsible for the leaking of this audio? And the answer? Enemies of the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya, William Samoei Ruto. That's number one. Number two, these enemies of the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya want to reverse the popularity of the Deputy President in Central Province. Now, this second point is very telling. It means that the Deputy President currently must have quite a lot of support in Central Province. Because if he did not have the support, if he had not made any inroads, it would not be necessary to remind the people of Central Province about an incident that happened in the 2007 elections. Or rather, after the contested results of those elections were announced. This is super fascinating. Now, before we go any further, let me give you a small tip that will help you to avoid confusion at all times. Kikuyu politics currently is divided into two groups of voters. And this is very important to note. The first group of voters are those in Central Province. And the second group of voters, also a huge number, are those in Rift Valley. Many of them were born in the Rift Valley. They know no other home because their parents migrated there in the 60s. Some of them moved there to take advantage of business opportunities. After all, they're still within Kenya. They're still within the borders of Kenya. And our constitution protects the right of every Kenyan to invest and live anywhere within the borders of the country, without being threatened or without living in fear. Now, the members of the House of Mumbi who are within the Rift Valley have gone through a lot. And most of them are of the opinion that nobody should do anything to upset the very delicate situation in the Rift Valley. The delicate situation that allows them to live and do business peacefully in the Rift Valley. The delicate situation that should not be upset by angering or provoking the Kalenjins in the Rift Valley. In my view, unless something very major changes, those members of the House of Mumbi based in the Rift Valley will always vote for peace. And that means voting for Deputy President William Samoei Ruto. Because a vote against the Deputy President would upset the hosts. And more importantly, these are not the target. These people, these Kenyans, are not the target of the current political crisis in Central Province. The current political crisis in Central Province involves only members of the House of Mumbi within the Mount Kenya region, within Central Province. And the great fear for the handshake team, quite naturally, is that these members of the House of Mumbi, who live at home within the Central Province and Mount Kenya region, may be influenced by their counterparts who live in the Rift Valley, which is not far-fetched at all, because these people have relatives who are in the Rift Valley. And even as they vote, even as you vote, you will always want to protect those you love who may be living in the Rift Valley. Some of them your blood relatives, some of them your close friends, etc., etc. Now, having understood that, it becomes very clear that bringing up the issue of the Kiambaa church is a very, very hot political potato currently in Kenya. And therefore, and this is just a theory from me, therefore, it would be much easier and much better to pass that message across through a leaked audio rather than from somebody taking to the podium and speaking about it. Politics the world over is all about emotions. So what is happening here is that you make sure the voters are reminded so that their emotions shift in such a way that it will be impossible for them to support the deputy president. One analyst I discussed this issue with shortly before I made this video said, in no uncertain terms, that this is part of the preparations in Central Province for the tour of the handshake principles. The ground is being prepared so that when the president and Raila Odinga visit Central Province, anybody who wants to interrupt the meetings or anybody who wants to do anything in show of support of the Tanga Tanga group will be viewed as a madman. Wah! Hii siasa Kenya kimeumana kuumana. Now we're waiting for statements on the allegedly leaked audio. And my view is that most probably those statements which will be issued either by those people claimed to be in the audio, George Nyanja and Raphael Tuju, most probably those statements will be to rubbish the audio. I believe those statements will be mainly to distance those identified from the audio. However, take note of the fact that the message has already been delivered. So even as people deny, and even as people rubbish the audio, if that's what they're going to do, the message will have already arrived where it was meant to arrive. I will not be surprised if Tim Keleweke goes as far as condemning the leaked audio, and those who released it, and maybe even making threats. That will not surprise me. That is, making threats on those distributing the audio. It will not even surprise me if the National Cohesion Boys come into the picture and say that what these people are trying to do is to open old wounds, when the country is still trying to heal from tribal animosities. But even with all that hullabaloo, the message has reached home. The message has been received by those whom it was intended for. Those whom it was planned that they receive this message. They have received. And their reaction is very predictable. It is possible that it will become very difficult. I'm not saying it will happen. I'm just saying the possibility is high. That going forward, it will become difficult for the Tanga Tanga team to do business in Central Province. And so even as we continue to receive statements of denials, these denials contradict the events unfolding on the ground. Until next time, this is Chris Kumekucha.